Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today we're going to make a roasted salsa with ingredients grown from the garden. A few days ago we harvested these Italian Roma tomatoes. These are bush tomatoes. They're also heirloom. And we'll use this in our salsa today. We also harvested some poblano peppers. And in its dry form they're called ancho chile. And we're going to use both of these in here. And then we also have some jalapenos that we harvested. They're not very big this year, but what they lack in size we'll make up in quantity. And then we have this Chesnok Red hardneck garlic that was harvested a couple months ago. And then the last ingredient in here will be this Zebrune French heirloom shallot. So we'll see how it tastes in here. Instead of using a brown onion, we'll use one of a few of these. So let's cut them all up, put them in the oven to roast, and then we'll blend it up and get a salsa out of it. Okay, I've measured out about 1.5 pounds of tomatoes. I have probably a good 3.5 pounds of tomatoes harvested, and I won't be able to eat all that salsa. So what I did was I picked out the smaller ones, and with the larger ones I'm gonna cut them in half and make sun-dried tomatoes out of them. I'm actually gonna put them in the sun so they can sun-dry. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and cut these in half, place them on a baking sheet, and put them in the oven. This is what one of them looks like. So we have our poblano pepper. We'll just cut these. We'll just cut this in half. The poblano pepper is pretty spicy. This is our jalapeno. I already cut one and threw it in there. I'm cutting them, the stem off, and then I'm off camera tasting them, checking them, make sure that they're not too spicy. I'm gonna leave the seeds in for texture. And then here's our Zebrune shallot. This is a very nice shallot. I think I'm gonna use it in a risotto. One of my favorite uses for shallots. It's a risotto. We're just gonna slice it in half, and then we're gonna slice them by their cross section. Just throw them all on this sheet pan here. We got another shallot. I'm using the larger ones because most of the things that I use shallot in, I don't use too much because shallot's pretty strong. And then this is our garlic. We grew out from in the front yard. Gonna leave the skin on. I'm gonna use a little bit more. I like garlic. All of this stuff is not going to waste. It's gonna go and end up in the compost bin. Anything that is not used in the salsa. So here we have our ingredients for our salsa. We got our tomatoes, we got our chili peppers here, the poblano, the jalapeno. We have our onion, the shallot, the Zebrune shallots, and then we have our Chesnok Red garlic. So we'll stick them in the oven 6 to 8 minutes. Since these are all smaller pieces, we'll probably check them at the 6-minute mark. While those things are in the oven, I'm going to slice up the bigger Roma tomatoes and sun dry them. But before I do that, I'm gonna save some seeds from the larger tomatoes. What I like to do is just scoop them onto onto a paper towel and let them dry. This is a very nice one to save. It's also important to save different types or different ones. So I like that this one's kind of pudgy. This one is kind of a Perry. This one's a little bit more pudgy, so I'm gonna take this one. So we never know if the traits follow the seeds or not, but it's a good guideline to pick seeds from the ones that you wanna kind of reproduce. So, and once again, since these are heirloom tomatoes, they can be grown from seed next season. With hybrids, hybrid seeds are created by two different types of plants. So what happens is you're not going to get that trait back. You're going to need the two different types of plants to get that trait back. Or sometimes the seeds come out sterile. This one looks like another good one. I'm going to save a lot of seeds. Whoa, this one's pretty good save. It's mostly flesh. So we'll put it on this corner, and hopefully I'll remember that I will try to grow the seeds from this one first. There are not too many seeds. Okay. How many plants do I want next year? I got enough for a lot, but oh, here comes the seeds. Okay. Anyways, I could probably do this all day, but wanted to show you real quick that you can save the seeds and how to do it. I guess it's only fitting that I can't find the blender, so I'm going to try and use this mortar and pedestal for the first time. This is my late father's mortar and pedestal. I guess we'll see if it'll work. Okay, let's get this ancho chili in here. Is this even how you're supposed to do this? Okay, that wasn't working very well, so I went and spent some time to look for the blender. This is what I have. I don't blend too many things. I still may want to try this out. I lost a lot of good ancho mole in here now, so. Have our nice ancho chili powder. Very cool. Tastes really good. So this is about half of what's on the sheet pan. We'll just do them in small batches. Still steaming. And this is the rest of the ingredients from the sheet pan that came out of the oven. I forgot to show you what it looked like when it came out of the oven. You can see the jalapeno there. We have the garlic that's now peeled. Some of the shallots are in here. And for the second batch, before we mix it with the first, let's put in a good amount of salt. This is Himalayan sea salt. I found that its salinity is not as great as regular salt, so if it looks like there's a lot of salt in here, there's actually not, because it's not as salty. And we'll just season it to taste. Also have to account for the salt that's in the chip. So you don't want to make it too salty. And depending on how you like it, you can make it chunky or smooth as a Bloody Mary cocktail, if you like. But I like it somewhere in between. I'm shaking it up to get the ancho chili powder all in there. I think let's open it up and see if it's the right texture. Yeah, looks like the right texture. I don't know how big this bowl is. This looks like 2.5, maybe 3 cup bowl. And here it is, our fire roasted salsa made with ingredients from the garden, with heirloom Italian Roma tomatoes, jalapenos, ancho chile, poblano peppers, Chesnok Red garlic, and French heirloom Zebrune shallots. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Hey, so I don't know if you've been wondering about my oven. This is a 1950s Chambers oven. I guess it's vintage now. It came with the house. I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's a really robust oven, but the temperatures on the oven is not very accurate, and sometimes it shuts off. So it's not very good for baking. I just use it for roasting and stuff. And the door on this oven, it's really, really slim, so I can't really fit big items like our modern day turkeys in there. So I have to get small chickens or small turkeys to put in there. But it has this cool thing called a deep well, and in it is a pilot that's always on, and it gets pretty warm in there. So I guess back then you can use residual heat and put a deep well pot in there and slow cook that way. This is probably before the slow cooker and the Instapot pressure cooker days. But what I did with this deep well was I made a ancho chili from this poblano pepper in a couple days time without having to resort to the dehydrator. This surface here gets pretty warm, so what I did was I took a poblano pepper and I placed it on here, and I turned it every day until it got nice and dry, so it's now nice and crispy, if you can hear that. It's so yeah, just a quick intro on this oven that I love and hate at the same time, and how I turned this poblano pepper into an ancho chili in a few days time.